I'm sure it's all about the campaign trail. Who knows if he really believes this, but former President Donald Trump, who's also facing some issues of his own and campaigning for re-election, is taking aim at the electric vehicle industry. Donald Trump has already called on oil and gas industry executives to funnel significant campaign funds his way in exchange for a promise to undo the Biden administration's climate policies. He says if he's reelected in November, Trump plans to roll back tailpipe emissions targets and slash EV tax credits. These policies could backfire even among Republican voters, as the EV sector has been a boon for job growth and investment in southern states. So the automotive landscape has drastically changed since 2016 when Trump first gained his presidency. Despite his best efforts to curb the growth, the EV market has exploded over the last 8 years. In 2016, looks like around 160,000 EVs were sold in the U.S. That seems like a long time ago. In 2024, that number has expected to exceed 1.5 million, which accounts for about 10% of the U.S. new car sales. Even if Trump does win and halts EV tax credits, the market's momentum suggests it's already at a tipping point. Analysts believe that widespread EV adoption will continue, though potentially at a slower rate, regardless of what happens and what he wants to have happen. William Clay Ford Jr., an executive over at Ford Motor Company, emphasized the long-term planning inherent to the auto industry, telling the New York Times, quote, "Our time frame as a company, our planning time frame," he says, "is a lot longer than election cycles. When we're whipsawed back and forth by politicians," he says, "that becomes really difficult for us." Now, investment in U.S. manufacturing spurred by President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act is set to continue even with a possible second term for Donald Trump. For example, Hyundai is investing $13 billion in EV production in Georgia, a state that Donald Trump narrowly lost by about 12,000 votes back in 2020. By threatening the livelihood of a blue-collar American worker over there, Trump could be undermining his own campaign, they say, in these manufacturing-reliant states. And with billions of dollars in investments from automakers, charging companies, dealership networks, and advertising, it's unlikely that Trump can halt the rolling boulder that is the electric vehicle market. Republican strongholds like Texas and Florida are increasingly adopting electric vehicles, trailing only California in EV registrations. It seems to be Trump's strategy is to alienate regular working-class Americans in an attempt to rally his base. But we'll have to wait until November to see if this actually pays off. What's your take on this? We've seen EVs explode in terms of sales. Again, it was 150,000 just a few years ago, now to 1.5 million in sales. It's not slowing down. Is this a threat that will help his potential re-election? Not sure. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them in the comment section below. Here is an intriguing trend in the automotive world: the age of the vehicles on the roads today. They are increasing quite a bit. The average age of vehicles in America has reached a record high. So today I'm going to break down what this means and why it's happening. So as of January of this year, the average age of vehicles in America has climbed to an all-time high of 12.6 years. This marks a 2-month increase, so getting bigger than the previous year. The total number of vehicles in use has risen to 286 million, kind of an interesting number, right? Up by 2 million from the previous year. More vehicles on the road, more vehicles being driven overall in America. Only 88 million of these vehicles were between 1 and 5 years old in January of 2024, a decrease from 90.3 million the year before. On the other hand, there were 110 million vehicles in the prime range for the aftermarket service industry, aged between 6 and 14 years. This trend is indicative of several underlying factors affecting the market. Here they are. Key factors: increased quality. Vehicles today are built to last longer, leading to extended lifespans, right? Good quality means long-lasting life. Higher prices. The cost of a new vehicle today has risen so much, making it more economical for people to hold on to their older vehicles. It makes a lot of sense, especially around COVID time. Speaking of COVID, the impact from the pandemic. This has disrupted the supply chain, leading to fewer new cars being produced. So therefore, people hang on to what they have because not only are the new cars more expensive, but there are less of them to buy. There's also resistance to EVs by American buyers. Some consumers are still pretty hesitant to switch over to electric versus combustible, sticking with their older traditional cars. Makes sense, it's safer. There has been a rise in EVs, even though people are hesitant to buy them versus the traditional vehicles. As of January 2024, our baseline here, there were 3.2 million EVs on the roads in America versus 2.1 million the previous year. That's a big jump. The growth rate of EV sales has started to flatten, though. The prediction is that the average age of EVs will begin to rise slightly as their sales begin to stabilize. The report here also highlights a shift in consumer preferences toward light trucks. Since 2020, 26 million light trucks have been retired, while 45 million new ones were registered. In contrast, cars saw only 13 million new registrations compared to 27 million retirements. In general, consumers have demonstrated that they're not really interested in traditional sedans anymore. Plus, if your manufacturers aren't going to make them, it kind of limits what we can choose from, right? Utility vehicles in many ways have become the new minivan, so SUVs and CUVs. So the increasing age of vehicles on American roads is a multifaceted issue influenced by a lot of things: quality, economic factors, consumer preferences, availability. So as we move forward, according to experts, we're going to see this trend continue of people holding onto their vehicles longer, meaning older vehicles on the roads, because the vehicles that are being put out today, yes, they're good quality, but they're more expensive than they were just 4 years ago. Do you know how old your vehicle is? How long have you had it? Is it before 2020? Have you hung on to that because of the pandemic? Love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Today's video is brought to you by The Cold Plunge. Use discount code DAVE150 at checkout at thecoldplunge.com. Immediately save $150 off your purchase. That's DAVE150 at thecoldplunge.com. There's also a link below this video.
One final note, if you are in the market for a new vehicle soon, great. Connect with your local dealership and price and test drive at least 3 different vehicles. A vehicle's strengths and weaknesses can only be discovered when you are behind the wheel. My reviews can be good, but you need to test drive these yourself. Visit quotes.everymandriver.com, select the make, model, and your zip code, and you'll get invoice pricing in your area on those vehicles. Shop smarter with price quotes at quotes.everymandriver.com.
Thanks for watching. Please click subscribe and give us a thumbs up.